Hello, I'm lesbian fiction author Kiki Archer, and this is the first in my new Lesbians Through the Ages series. Now, I was born in 1980, so I'm an 80s child, and we're going to be remembering what it was like growing up in the 80s, and we're going to see if there's any slight differences for us lesbians out there. Now, I'm going to start off with a song that if you are an 80s child, it will mean the absolute world to you. You know this song. Are you ready? Scott and Charlene's Wedding. That's from Scott and Charlene's Wedding. Now, didn't that mean something to us in the 80s? It really did. But I think possibly as lesbians, I don't think we were that bothered about Scott, were we really? It wasn't really about Jason Donovan. We liked Jason and Kylie, but actually it was more about Jane, wasn't it? It was Jane. Jane was the one that we liked, and possibly Daphne. We liked Daphne, a wedding between Jane and Daphne. Now that's what I think we were hoping for. But you know that song. The second thing, being a child of the 80s, for a short period in our little lesbian lives, we were fashionable because shell suits were in, and so were like neon Bermuda shorts. And we could camouflage ourselves amongst the cool people, amongst the fashionable people. If you have a look at this picture of me, possibly my hair still gave it away, but for that short period in time, we were in fashion with our shell suits and our nice bright shorts. The third thing I remember suddenly appearing, suddenly there was these things called scratch and sniff stickers. Now, I grew up in a field, in a tiny, tiny village. Honestly, there was one bus. If you missed it on Saturday, you had to wait till Wednesday to catch it again. And so I had no clue about these scratch and sniff stickers or where the cool girls, the cool town girls were getting them from. So it was quite good, I think, for us lesbians to practice our chatting up skills and wander over to the cool girls and ask if we could have a scratch and a sniff of their love heart sticker. Next thing, one word, and it is kit. Something like that, wasn't it? I've got it here. Knight Rider. We all know this from the 80s. Come on, here we go. Didn't we love Knight Rider? Everyone did. Everyone in the 80s loved Knight Rider. But I think for us lesbians, again, it was possibly actually about being able to style ourselves on Michael Knight, on David Hasselhoff. Didn't we love his hair, his leather jackets? We wanted to be Michael Knight, I think. Knight Rider and Kit, come in Kit, played a big part, I think, in our childhood for us 80s children. Moving on, in the 80s, we had lots of toys, didn't we? We had the Barbies, we had the My Little Ponies, we had the Cabbage Patch Kids, we had glowworms. I always wanted a glowworm, I never got a glowworm. We had Care Bears. Now, as a lesbian, I actually chose, genuinely, Grumpy Bear. Grumpy Bear was my one toy I had in the 80s growing up. I chose that. Okay, we're going to have another singer now. And the 80s were all about this guy. But again, we didn't fancy him, did we, as lesbians? I think we wanted to look like him. It's Rick, isn't it? Come on, Rick. Are you ready, Rick? I loved Rick. Here he is. He danced like this, didn't he, with Astley? That's the Rick dance. That's all you have to do to dance to Rick Astley. But we loved Rick, didn't we? He was the first tape I ever had was Rick Astley's tape, and I got it from Father Christmas the same year that I got the Kylie tape, where she had that hat with that black rim and all her curly hair coming out. But again, we didn't fancy Rick. We wanted to be Rick as lesbians. We loved his hair, we loved his clothes. But Rick Astley definitely played a big part for us 80s kids. Next one, it's the bikes. Bikes were cool in the 80s, and all the cool girls would have these bikes, and they'd have like the streamers coming out of their handlebars. But for us lesbians, I think it was all about the Spokey Dokies. Remember Spokey Dokies? I love the Spokey Dokies. No ribbons for me, just Spokey Dokies. I think I had Spokey Dokies in my front wheel, and my back wheel I went as far as getting one of those discs, one of those bike wheel discs. And so I had my Spokey Dokies and my disc, and I could go and impress the girls with their ribbons. Did you have Spokey Dokies? I love the Spokey Dokies, a bit noisy. Next, last one, I think I do have to mention the 80s TV programmes. They were great, weren't they? I loved Super Ted. I loved He-Man, Power of Grayskull and She-Ra. I think everyone had their Barbies, and they were wanting their Barbie to kiss Ken. I had a He-Man doll, I had the He-Man figure, and I got He-Man to kiss She-Ra. What else was there? No one remembers this, but there was one called Jimbo. It's about a plane, Jimbo. I love that one. But I think probably us lesbians liked the most Finger Mouse, didn't we? We like Finger Mouse. There's loads of stuff from the 80s. I want you to let me know if there's anything else you really remember, or anything else that you think as a lesbian was slightly different for you, because next time we're looking at what it was like being a lesbian teenager in the 90s. The naughty 90s, we're teenagers and we're still lesbian. Okay, thank you, bye!